Hello everyone, and here we are in another week of getting closer and closer to being able to have you up at our mezzanine wine bar. There's some news coming about that. But in the meantime, I need to practice. I need to practice for tonight. What's happening tonight, in just a few hours from now, I'm going to be loading the car with some nice stemware and 5 very good French wines times 2. So probably enough for this dozen or so people who are attending a particular event to enjoy. They're going to hear about 5 different French wines this evening on behalf of a particular woman who handles the financial affairs of other women. So that's her specialty. She's a financial advisor, and that's the group she addresses. So she's going to have a gathering with the hook being there's going to be a fun wine tasting and a little dissertation on French wine. And then we hear from her about what she is offering her clients. These are all current clients. There might be some prospective ones there as well. And then we get back to the fun part, the wine. So I'm gonna also load up some cheese platters, meat platters that Dawn is gonna make beautiful for us today. I'm even doing sourdough bread for this, I promised that, because the French wine thing wants good food. The bread will also have, this time around, the introduction of Niçoise olives, and I'm also mixing in some herbs de Provence. So I want to give it kind of a Southern Rhone kind of a thing to further connect it to the French wine theme. So this is just to kind of let you know, of course, that besides the fact that I want to practice on you, I do this kind of thing. We go off-site and we can present for a group. And pretty soon we'll be able to present for a group right up here again on our mezzanine. So this person was used to doing this here on the mezzanine. The next best case is to do it in the backyard of her mother-in-law up in Ruby Hill. Beautiful place, beautiful site for a great tasting this evening. So we do it here, we go off-site, and so on. So let's practice. Let's first explain the fact that this piece of cheese here has absolutely nothing to do with tonight's event because it's from Italy. It is in fact flown over from Puglia, Italy, but it's just our incessantly telling you that the burrata is back. We took a couple of months off of carrying it, and now with the beautiful days that we have ahead, especially this coming weekend, we thought people would be in the mood for this wonderfully fresh cheese. Even though your tomatoes are nowhere near ready yet, the plants probably aren't even in the ground, but burrata's ready, it's back, flown over fresh from Italy. The reason why we'll probably at least include a picture of it in nearly every video is because we want to sell perishable products to you, but if they're perishable, we got to keep reminding that they're here. So come and get them, and you're going to love this burrata. If you have not had it before, you should get in on it. It's the one that we've been using on our wine bar cheese menu too, so that's about to happen again. So thank you, burrata. So for the event tonight, I'm going to present 5 different French wines, and I thought it would be fun to do a regional thing and explain the fact that French wines are always drunk with food. You don't see French people walking around drinking wine all by itself. That's a kind of a California wine phenomenon, the cocktail wine drinking thing. But in Europe in general, we sit down to table, we have wonderful food, we have wonderful wines, and the wines are designed accordingly. So here's one, actually this one has a cork out of it, meaning I get to taste it. So here's another example of the same bottle right out in front of you. This is Bel Air, Domaine de Bel Air, Puy-Fumé, and I'll be talking about Puy-Fumé being right across the river from a more easily pronounced place called Sancerre. And I'll bet many, if not most of you, have had Sancerre before and know that that is 100% Sauvignon Blanc. And yet, Puy-Fumé kind of lingers in the shadows for some because it's harder to say. You look at this word on the front of the label and you kind of run away. You run straight to Sancerre, away from Puy-Fumé, even though these bottles are right next to each other downstairs. So this is Loire Valley Sauvignon Blanc from a place called Puy-Fumé. Puy-Fumé can be grown in the local slate or the gravel. In this case, this particular bottling sees the roots of the vines head down to limestone. In fact, it's the same limestone that forms the cliffs of Dover across the English Channel. That same band of limestone dips under the English Channel. They dug a tunnel through it, and it resurfaces here and in Chablis, a little farther to the east. I love the vagueness of this wine. Vagueness? Yes. Sometimes wines should be evasive and not in your face. This Puy-Fumé, instead of being all green and really assertively slaty, no, remember it's limestone, a little more discreet. Very fresh, evasive, limey fruit. Very pretty, very pretty. I think I will take some Chev, some goat cheese that is, up to this Ruby Hill tasting, because this wine will be rock star with it. Wow, Puy Fumé is wine number 1 for tonight's event. And what's coming next? I'm going to tell those folks about white Burgundy. And some of them will not even know what white Burgundy is, but many of you do know that white Burgundy is 100% Chardonnay. This is the location of France that, before it was called France, this location was the first area in perhaps the entire wine world that was so obsessed about what different little places did to affect Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. I mean, yes, this place right here versus a place 100 yards away, they can taste a little bit different. And all this was recorded by the monks. And that's where place names for wine became so important. And that's why, in fact, European wines are still, in fact, identified by place and not grape variety. But white Burgundy is, in fact, made of nearly always 100% Chardonnay. And this is a beauty from the northern part of the Côte d'Or. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of places. I kind of want to cram place down their throat tonight. Just saying that's the emphasis. That's the point of view. That's the perspective of the French or even European wine drinker, is where is it from? Not necessarily what is it made of. That's secondary. But where is it from? This is from white Burgundy. This is from Burgundy. It's white. And more locally, it's from the Côte d'Or. More locally, it's from the Côte de Nuit, and a region called the Côte de Nuit Village. It's basically beautiful Chardonnay, all right? Okay, onward. We won't belabor the place point anymore, except to tell you we're going to another place, and we're going to take them next to Bordeaux. This is the cool thing where I got these wines open this morning just to have little tipples of them, if you will, to determine the sequence, because everybody's going to have this menu in front of them during my little 15-minute dissertation. They all get taste of these. Then our financial advisor woman is going to be speaking, and then we're back to enjoying glasses of these. But in the meantime, because they perhaps have never heard of the word Bourgogne, which is the way the French say Burgundy, we anglicized it, they've got it in writing. And maybe they want to order some wine later on. So this is what they go home with. We're taking them to Bordeaux next, and this is left bank. I'll talk about what the left bank is versus the right bank, and this happens to be 50% Merlot and 50% Cabernet Sauvignon from the subregion of the left bank of Bordeaux called Saint-Estèphe, and it's from a winery called Félin-Ségur, which is a second or a third, maybe a fourth growth. At any rate, it's a very highfalutin winery, and highfalutin wineries often have a second wine that we can actually afford, and so this is a very, very good Bordeaux second wine from Félin-Ségur called Frank Félin. And actually, this is a dude who came over from Ireland, I think about 300 years ago, to set up shop and to have his own chateau. So that's why you often see really interesting, like English/Irish names on chateau in Bordeaux. There's a lot of cooperation, sometimes warfare, but sometimes cooperation and trade between the two. And the English loved their Bordeaux, didn't they? Or they still do, I imagine. Frank Félin, 50% Merlot, 50% Cabernet. And the reason why I was tasting all of these this morning is because I actually decided to put this before a Pinot Noir. Like Cab and Merlot mix before a Pinot, it works. Because next we take them back to Burgundy for a red Burgundy, which is 100% Pinot Noir from Philippe Collin from the area of Santenay. And this is a beautiful 2018, meaning it's got forward fruit. The 18 vintage for Burgundy gave the whites a little more opulence, and the reds a little more oomph of fruit, and I think some durability. This Santenay is ready to drink now, and its forward fruitiness, it doesn't like lose its soul of Burgundy. If you had it next to a big Russian River Pinot Noir from here in California, you'd say, well, that's obviously the European wine, but within the European context of tonight's tasting, this will stick out as beautifully fruited because it's an 18. At any rate, we'll be swirling and sniffing a lot, and heading once again back to the cheese and meat platters that we're providing to enjoy a really beautiful red Burgundy. The reason why, of course, I'm talking about all of these wines to you is, yes, to practice, but also to tell you we got these wines downstairs, and we can do this for you. We can have an event like this for you. We can replicate this or give you your own custom event. So how about that? Bordeaux before Burgundy. So how do you end up? Like if you've got one more slot for a red and people aren't tired of tasting yet, where do you go last? Where I always go last is to the Southern Rhone. And people have heard of it. People like to say it. And I like to show it to people because I get 100% applause when I show a nice ripe Chateauneuf du Pape. So Chateauneuf du Pape is in the southern Rhone. It's called Chateauneuf du Pape because the popes used to live here and not in Avignon for a period of the 14th century. And so the new house of the Pope is basically the meaning of that name. And this is going to be basically a GSM, Grenache Syrah Mourvedre blend, as most, not all, but most Chateauneuf du Papes are. This is from the delicious 2017 vintage. Tasted it this morning just to make sure it's still good. It's got a long way to go. This is a beautiful finish to tonight's event for that group. How about an advertisement before I tell you about one more wine that has to do with another event? Just to let you know, the freezer is full of wonderful things from our daughter, Mary Denham, her Bloom's End products. This woman is imaginative. She is just killing it by not putting a product out until she has put her test kitchen to work over and over and over again, trying things out. And so she remembers me making gougere a long time ago. Gougere is kind of a French cheese pop, if you will, and it usually uses Gruyere cheese. So gougere and Gruyere kind of rhyme. Well, she went unconventional. She got all Spanish on this idea of gougere and adds manchego cheese to this particular batch that's down in the freezer right now. This and cookie dough and biscuits and other good things. I think we still have some scones down there. Check out that freezer. Bloom's End, great products. You go home and finish them and you look like a rock star baker. And Mary helped you out. Okay, I told you there was one more wine because there is in fact yet another event. This Sunday, we will be doing a Zoom event with one of my two favorite Rotary clubs. We have one particular, actually two, that are extremely active with us. They're both in Fremont, of all places. And we have many wine club members coming from each club, and they've wanted to do an event with us. They do an event with us every March. They're missing out on the March event on the mezzanine, where we have them and only them up here and give them 2 hours of fun and maybe show them 12 different wines. Well, how do we substitute? We're going to do a Zoom event. We're going to give them a Rhone experience. Everybody who's participating is picking up 4 bottles of Rhone wine that I've selected. Most of them are also picking up a food pack that, you know, it's kind of a value add or an extra thing that you can pay for if you want some appropriate food to go along. Saucisson, that's salami in French, and Niçoise olives, and a particular beautiful cheese called Osso Irriti that comes from the Pyrenees, the French side. So lots of French food, 4 delicious Rhone wines, and this is to announce that we have included in their 4-pack a wine that you perhaps have never heard of before. It's, well, first of all, the label doesn't tell you anything. It says MUSC on the front. I can tell you that it's made by a producer called Domaine de la Graverette. The guy who operates it, his name is Julien Mousse, and he is located in Chateauneuf du Pape. And in fact, he makes wonderful Chateauneuf du Pape. And this is an alternative project for him that utilizes 100% of a very interesting grape called Marselan. We're going to be hearing more about Marselan, but this is the first time this wine steward has ever carried a 100% Marselan. What is it? It's a cross that was created only a few decades ago. Crosses, virtually every grape out there in the wine world is a cross. Most of the time, it's a cross that occurred on behalf or based on, it happened out in the vineyards. Mother Nature did it. So it happened naturally. But we've also learned how to cross things when we're going for a certain effect, that put 2 grapes together to come up with yet another grape. So that's how Marselan was done. It was done in a laboratory. And turns out it's a damn good grape, and they grow it a lot in the south of France and in the Rhone Valley. And you know what? Bordeaux is approving it for use there now. So it's going to go into the ground as 2021, along with a few other grapes in Bordeaux, because as they see their climate changing toward the warmer, they may have to start amending their precious Cabernet Merlot and Cab Franc and so on with some other things that can provide sturdiness. Marselan will do that. Marselan is a cross of what? It's a cross of Cabernet Sauvignon and Grenache. So you've got this very interesting effect of a Bordeaux grape being crossed with a Rhone grape. And look at the color, it's immense. So, wow, and the smell, intense, and that rhymes. The smell is kind of murky, earthy, but there's really ripe fruit hiding in there too. And pepper, oh my gosh, pepper like crazy. White pepper and black pepper. I wonder which pepper's winning here. I'm gonna find out. That's a big mouth. And structure. There are tannins, there's yummy fruit, and there's pepper. I am happy in many ways. My mouth is a little bit aggrieved, and I know exactly what to do. Head for the food. And so those Rotarians will have those food packs, and they'll know what to do. They'll get the charcuterie going in the mouth, and it will resolve the tannins happening here. This is really cool wine. The grape is called Marcelon. I am putting it on this weekend's wine bar menu, so the rest of you also get to try it. That's why this bottle's open. I'm gonna go make a menu now. We've got some tables outside. A few of you will also be invited, reservation only, to the upstairs this weekend. We're still working on that. We're still practicing. So at any rate, call us if you want a table anywhere, because our tables are few right now. You understand why. Thanks so much for listening. That's practice. I hope tonight goes well. I hope this Sunday goes well with the Rotarians. They're very forgiving people, wonderful folks. Can't wait to see you guys. And thank you to the rest of you. Come on and see us and grab some of these goodies I just told you about. Thanks so much. Bye.